Hey everyone.
Hello.
Let's wait for a few minutes before we start. Meanwhile, if anyone has anything they want to bring up in the meeting, please add it to the agenda so that we can plan the meeting accordingly.
Should we get started? Surya, I'm not sure if you're talking and on mute or.
I was muted. I was about to say we can get started, but you
Yeah.
beat me to it. Yeah, let's get started. We are 3 minutes past. As usual, let's do triage first, and then we can go to the agenda items. There was one
Can I
of
ask
this.
a question first? I'm wondering like how the things for the triage are being picked up, and I think the last couple times we've done mostly issues. Should we at some point try and assign some flakes or would that make sense?
So, sorry, assign. I lost your last part of the last statement. Does it make sense to do what? Sorry, Nadia.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Uh,
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm wondering if it makes sense to try and assign some flakes to be fixed too,
oh,
considering it could be more difficult than just replying to issues, I guess, but also would be very nice to do, I guess.
like the test flakes, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there are also issues, but I'm not sure. I think we haven't assigned a single one of them yet.
No, no, makes sense. Surya, are you on mute? I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure.
know. I was hearing. Yeah, I was just trying to see what you both
Sorry, sorry, you were
conclude.
sharing, so I wasn't sure whether you're on mute. It happened, so go ahead,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, no, no, I was actually muted because you were both speaking. I didn't want to cut. There are issues which external people are opening. So for me personally, it's more important to get engagement. But I do agree, like Nadia said, that flakes are also in the issues. And I don't consider flakes in my triage. I only go for kind support issues because I'm looking for, let's say, external contributors to run us on production so I can get to incubation. That's the mindset. But flakes should just be picked up by community members, to be honest. There is a lot of flakes. Nobody should even have to assign things, like there is so many unassigned flakes, and this is part of being upstream community contributor. And whenever people have time, they should be just picking up things.
But how is that different than from assign? You could also assign to yourself the support kind of issues, right?
Yeah, but the support issues have more
Like function,
worse
right?
effect.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's more of I cannot use the product. I already using it,
yeah,
not working. I think we should definitely track that first to get more people use our stuff and then come back and give feedback. Flake is more of for maintainers and developers. They submit a
yeah.
it's flaking, so maybe they can help pitch in.
Right. So what I'm saying is that's definitely not happening. I can tell you that. So do we want to try and introduce a process for that too, or do we just say okay, for we try to handle the support issues first, and only after that we go to assigning flakes, or what?
Yeah,
I feel
let's
like it
do
makes sense
support.
to discuss the plan.
Yeah, let's do some
Yeah.
functional stuff and then maybe see at the end of the day. We need to see how many flakes we have, right? And then hopefully,
Well, a lot.
So that's why I didn't go through the flakes first. My plan was if we are lucky enough to get through the support issues, and then, I mean, it's not that many. I mean, even for that, we're barely able to find contributors. And then we should move on to flakes. I'm not saying we should ignore them, but flakes, all the developers need to equally pitch in. And we all need to take some flakes at some point.
And I think that before moving into discussing flakes in this meeting, someone should just go through the list of those and validate them and remove duplicates and make them test check if possible which ones are current and maybe flag them as good first kind of contributing issue. See if someone picks that up, things like that.
Yeah, that's also a good point. We need to clean up this list to see what's relevant. Any takers? Nadia, are you interested in helping with that?
Not exactly sure what to do with that, but I mean,
maybe in bringing up the relevant flakes that are happening, I don't think all the 64 are exactly
well,
things we
that's the
should be
question. I
triaging.
guess you could say, okay, if it was last commented like a year ago or something, that probably could be closed. Otherwise,
Yeah,
there is like no really way of saying if it's still happening, because people also often find, from what I can see, find flakes and then see there is an open flake and they don't add a new freshly failing job. So yeah, I mean, but I can just close the old ones. That's not difficult.
yeah, thank you. Maybe you can bring some 2 or 3 relevant ones to the next
Well,
meeting then,
yeah, actually, I
based on.
tried to do that in a channel, but I think there was no reply. So next time I'll probably I probably bring it up in the agenda.
I guess at the same time we can have a plan for what we want to do with them. I don't think like assigning them across attendees of this meeting is going to work well, right? Because there are too many flakes, maybe.
Yeah, but you don't need to assign all of them. We have discussed once, right? Trying to find like the most popular or something most failing. But I think without that, I mean, I don't expect, at least I don't see people assigning it them themselves. So if we can assign, I don't know, at least one bug per month or something per person, and they actually would know there is one single thing I need to do as an upstream contributor or a maintainer, maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we can order the list in with some criteria and have a section in our meeting as the spotlight, the flake in the spotlight of the week to try to solve it.
Exactly. Okay, let me
That
prepare
works.
that for the next time.
Yep.
Okay, moving on with the issue triage, since we only have top 15 minutes and we're done for the first 10 minutes discussing CI flakes. The first issue was actually opened as opened as one of the issues where they said OVN master is crash looping when installing enable multi-network in Helm. I think this is fixed by Flavio. I might just close this issue because I had asked this person and they haven't responded back. It's been a month, I think. So I'm just gonna maybe close this, or it actually got closed as not planned. The next one was not flakes, but L3 UDN failure to create VM network. Did we look at this the last time?
Did we want to ask Miguel to look at it? Because
I think that was a different one. I think Miguel looked at that,
okay,
closed that one out from FOSDEM. So it looks like this one is different. Okay, so this one says, okay, let's read it from the beginning. You're not able to create a VM on an L3, and it's not getting created because seems the routing table is not visible from the console. Okay, they're using Helm. And I remember looking at this, and I think Flavio was working with him on this, and we added support for UDN on Helm. And then I don't know if they tried it back. But I think there's also some networking issue here besides the OVN Cube notepod not coming up. So remove the etc open vswitch folder. Oh, okay. So it did work with Flavio's help, but it's not. I'm not able to do it if the VM is on Proxmox. Okay, this seems environment specific. Does anybody want to shepherd this issue and see if there's something we can do to help them or close it?
I can take a look at that one.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, this is the one that Miguel had looked at and we closed it. This is L2 UDN. Okay, the other one was L3. And this is the one that was opened as a discussion. I think we need to convert this to an issue and then take it. It's trying to understand how to enable BRENO1 after reboot.
But the thing is, this is outside of our CNI, right? We expect
Yeah,
the compute to be managed by OVS with uplink handling it. We can provide some reference as to how to use Network Manager to manage OVS, and um, and then persistent network config on reboot should be the Network Manager or network scripts or net plan or whatever that is. It's very hard for us to uh,
debug
yeah,
post-network
exactly.
operations.
Debug or try to make this persistent, right? Even the hack we do today, where if there is no OVS at all on the host, we kind of move the uplink to OVS bridge, move all the IP addresses on the uplink to the OVS bridge. Is actually a hack, right? At least downstream, what we do is we kind of have a prescriptive way of how to manage all your instances. Maybe it's be it VM or BM, VM or bare metal, and use Network Manager to do it. I think we should do that, like prerequisite to run our stuff. Minimally, they need to have
Yeah.
OVS running, and then OVS should be managing the uplink.
So I think we need some minimal to get started docs at least that
Yes,
tells,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
There was another bug.
Very similar to this, right?
Might be kind specific, but it was about rebooting and losing the IP. And I think it was a real bug, but I can't remember if it was like specific to kind.
Oh, true. Yeah. A few months ago, right? Hmm.
Yeah, and then I think I responded there or something saying we need to fix it.
Yeah, I think while this is not exactly our responsibility, at least we should definitely document a way for them to set it up in some way, because I think this is driving people away from adoption of OVN Cube upstream.
If you want to assign it to me, I can try to find the other issues, see if they're related, and then respond here.
Yeah, that would be good. I'm trying to see how to convert. Create an issue from the discussion. Okay. Oh, no, I'm not gonna. I'll just assign it to you, and maybe you can see how to transfer. Maybe it's transfer discussion. No,
Yeah,
I
just
don't know how to assign.
I've got the link, so I'll take a look at it and then
Yeah,
make an issue if we need one.
thank you. Thank you, Tim. The next one was 5477. I don't know why it's opening in my GitHub app. Let me open it here. Multi-VLAN trunk for local networks. Support for attaching a pod's secondary interface to multiple VLAN local networks simultaneously via a single NAT. Huh?
Yeah,
Instead
actually,
of the current VLAN ID, I thought we could only do one at a time, right?
yeah. So I think what we should do is OVN supports a single logical switch to have multiple local net interfaces. But I think he's this guy, at least from the heading is asking for the same local net port. It should do trunked VLAN. There are other ways to solve it. But he wants trunking to the same. He or she wants the trunking to the same. First of all, OVN should support it, and second of all, we can do it in a different way. You can assign it to me. Let me read it, and then I'll kind of reply back to him.
Thank
So
you, Girish.
this,
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was wondering, we can make this work on different bridges, right? But
No, the
not
same
on
bridge.
the
See, what
main
will
bridge.
no, no, on the same OVS physical bridge on the host, if you trunk the uplink port, right, then I can create patch ports from BRint to the same OVS bridge, multiple patch port on different VLANs using different that physical network name.
But here they are talking about doing trunking. So same network, multiple VLANs, right? Same logical
Correct.
switch, multiple VLANs. Isn't
That's
that it?
what yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? There are two ways to do it. One is the one logical switch. You can have multiple local net port and each port doing one VLAN tag, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
that logical switch have multiple subnet associated with it. That's one way to do it. That's supported in OVN today. At least
Mm-hmm.
the way he is asking, at least I'm just reading the 7 words, enable multi-VLAN track for local. I've not read through the whole thing. Um, if I understood the title correctly, on the same local net port, single local net port, he wants to trunk because he's saying trunk, correct? That is not even supported in OVN. So,
Yeah, it's not supported in OVN, but also that would be difficult to support on the same bridge,
correct,
uh,
correct.
on
I
the
see
same
what.
bridge as the other networks.
No, but the thing is, see what is local net port, right? The moment you mark some LSP as local net, the one controller will create a patch port from the BR into the respective OVS bridge that is responsible for that network name. So one could argue that in OVN, we can create that patch port with tag equals trunk, and then the patch port is now trunk port, and therefore we can support more, correct? So of course, it is all new code, but the patch can be trunked, and therefore you can run multiple VLAN IDs on the same single local net port. You see what I'm saying, Hemi?
Yeah, I understand. But what I don't know is how we can segregate the traffic in that case if it's on the same bridge. So if it's on the same bridge as the default network, right? We have
Right.
two patch ports. We have two patch ports. Let's say we have default network and local net and a local net network. So then we have two patch ports going to each network, and one of them is trunk. So how do we tell apart which traffic goes to which patch port?
Yeah.
We don't look at VLAN IDs today, so we'd have to start looking at them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This needs changes all across the place. Probably either we should steer them to multiple local net port on the same logical switch, which seems much cleaner to me than having trunk local net port. So let me read this and understand the requirement, and then maybe they have a legit use case that we don't know about, and kind of figure out the next steps. Yeah, I'm curious to read. I'll have an answer next week.
sounds good. Thank you. And if they are willing to take up an enhancement or something to support this, why not?
I like your optimism, Surya. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think with we need to get to the next level for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think we are done with 5 issue triage. Hopefully I went through all of them. I can't. Yeah, I think I went through all of them. Thank you, Patrick, Girish, Tim, for taking some of these issues. And we already spoke about the CI flake issues. I think we've agreed that Nadia will try to clean up the list, and she'll bring 2 or 3 issues to the next meeting to see if we can find volunteers. But meanwhile, everyone in the community is expected to please go and check the flakes that are regularly happening and try to assign them if you have some time. Anything on these 2 topics before we move on? Okay, if not, thanks, Nadia. Moving to, I just wanted to announce that we released 1.1. Thank you, everybody, for all the contributions and participation in making that possible. I think we should get started with 1.2 release planning soon and try to set a date for this. But yeah, we can talk more in the next meeting around that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Surya, for kind of helping us with this. Great efforts. Much appreciated. So
Yeah,
that was the
no
meeting.
problem.
Yeah, downstream we're going to rebase our next release off of this 1.1. So we were waiting for that to happen. So we're going to. I just hope that it's all um, stable, right? BGP is something, right, Tim? That's something new here. It's good to know. I'm going to read the release note myself, but BGP is the big thing and the network cost, right? But network cost we already have a good handle over. But yeah, BGP is something.
Yeah, I think UDN BGP network was, and then interconnect is the default mode of deployment. I think these were the four major changes compared to 1.0.
And then local net for cluster UDN also. For the whole.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I forgot to mention that in the release notes, but yeah. Well, no, actually, LocalNet and UDN, it's all after 1.0. It's considered as UDN, so
I
maybe
see.
it's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So
I have a quick question. Do we have a process to backport fixes and do maintenance releases of these things, or do we want one, or maybe there is and I missed it, or
Yeah, in the past, we've spoken about backport process. What we documented in a very minimal way was, and this was like a year ago, right? What we documented was that backports are on demand. So if a community member wants to backport something, they can make a request and do a pull request against that branch. And the PR must be tagged with needs backport label or something. There's like a very specific labeling scheme that we use. And then we can merge it. And then releases are also cut on demand. So if there is something specific like bug fixes that requires a release, then we do it. But in the past, given that we don't have many external contributors yet, nobody's actually requested for a patch release after I've cut a major release.
okay, thank you.
But yeah, there is some minimal level of documentation in one of the pages in our website for release backport process. But I think Dave is also trying to make some improvements in general. But that's a good point, Jaime, to bring up. Okay, and moving on to Alan. Is it Alan who has this topic?
yeah.
But I don't see Alan on the call. Does anyone else know what he means here? Mechanism to taint a node if
Yeah.
OVN cube in DPU mode is DPU mode on its DPU heartbeat leases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan brought this up last week internally, and then he pointed me to some patches that are open source in a Mellanox fork of Kubernetes. So I can add those to the document. But basically, the goal here is that when you have a DPU and the DPU fails, kubelet is running on the host, right? So kubelet will still it looks like the node is fine, except DPU is actually down, so no pods are going to work. So they're looking for a way to signal that the node is actually unhealthy and you shouldn't schedule pods there when the DPU goes down. So I think the proposal was to use node leases. So the node DPU component would hold a custom lease for the node, and when that lease expires, then something would then go set a taint of network unavailable for the node, so no pods would get scheduled there. So I think he was asking for feedback, and then he was going to go submit a OCAP. So I'll give him some feedback from what I've seen, and then I guess for the community there should be a OCAP coming soon.
Yeah. This
But it should
won't.
be like a fairly small code change.
Yeah. This is in a two cluster model, right? On the DPU cluster, will hold the lease from the host cluster. How. See, this node leases. Is this is just getting. I'm trying to understand here actually. So
It can be single cluster. So
yeah. But DPU will be deployed in two cluster model, correct? So
um,
upstream and in OpenShift and elsewhere, we decided two cluster model. So the kubelet on the DPU, uh, um, is it just a lease? Is it like, for example, the redirection, we take this lease, uh, and then, yeah, let me also read that. I had few issues with that, or maybe I missed something. So let me kind of, yeah, ping you both actually offline.
yeah, so it's like when the DPU is serving the host. So that cluster. So
Yeah,
kubelet is running on the host itself, right?
yeah. The way, see, the thing is, see, the something on the DPU will take the lease, right? And it has to constantly keep renewing the lease. And something on the
Yep.
checks, hey, has anyone has the DPU lost its lease? If it has lost the lease, then we know that it has lost the connection, and therefore we taint ourselves.
No, it's not good to do it from the node itself. So
Yeah,
it's better to do it from like a centralized component. So like OvenCube Cluster Manager sees that the node isn't updating its lease, it knows it's down, so it updates like a status condition saying, hey, this node has gone down and taints the node.
exactly. So we already actually in downstream we have a code where OvenCube master in OVN central mode, okay, was walking through all the DPU nodes, and then it was checking if it is conditions in the node conditions, right? Whether it was not ready and something ready was false, and something was false and something was false. There were various conditions for node, and if DPU showed any of those conditions that we cared about, we would taint um, the host, and therefore no pods get scheduled. So in that way, the the load on the API server will be less because 1,000 nodes, 1,000 entities not taking the lease and trying to renew the lease, correct? So that's something I was trying to look forward to, but I see things change, or maybe cluster manager can do it. So let me talk to you offline, Tim, and we can take it from there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just had a quick question. Is there no specific component that does this instead of OVN Kubernetes? Like something that is on the cluster that knows more about DPUs and knows more about checking the health of DPUs and that kind of stuff? Like I'm surprised there's no some other component different on the cluster that it's checking that instead of OVN Kubernetes.
Yeah, there's no health check operator or something that kind of understands that, hey, this node and this DPUs, they go along together. If the DPU is down, then I have to change the node. Um, yeah, that's not there, unfortunately. Actually, we also have to take care of a situation where a single node might have three DPUs or two DPUs or eight DPUs or four DPUs, right? How does even one of the DPU goes down? How do we tell the node now that, hey, you cannot have any more pods coming in? Um, Yeah, one could argue that it should be a third, another entity checking the health and then doing it. But yeah, we don't have that, Jaime. Maybe we are expecting too much from Amon Kubernetes CNI, but I also think doing it from within a CNI also makes sense because it owns DPU and the topology of node to DPU mapping. Maybe the OCAP should cover all this.
Well, I mean, OvenCube already clears network unavailable conditions that are set by GCE.
Correct.
So I don't think it's like crazy to do it here as well, especially for like DPU, which is something networking specific with OvenCube.
I think if it's the networking side of the DPU node, it's fine, not a generic. The node is down for whatever reason, and OVNCube is the one doing
Yeah,
the
it's
hard part.
network unavailable only.
Yeah, then. But yeah, sounds like we will have an OCAP, and we can see if there's some alternatives also suggested here that can be at least mentioned there. You can take it there.
So there's no
Sorry,
risk
Jaime, did
of,
you? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna ask, there's no risk of this code ending up being DPU manufacturer specific or DPU, brand specific or things like that, right?
No, yeah, it's generic.
Okay.
Cool. Sorry, I was taking notes and hence muted. Generic. Okay. The next item that I wanted to bring about was, I don't think Orc was here because it's late for him. We wanted to add a new MCP server for troubleshooting OVN Kubernetes and to expose some tools that will help us troubleshoot the whole stack. So Orco and I are working on an OCAP proposal. The proposal will not impact OVN Kubernetes repo itself. What we are looking for is if there are any concerns in us doing a new repo in OVN Kubernetes org called OVN Kubernetes MCP server. And we just wanted to Also, I'll link the OCAP here if anyone's interested to take a look at it and provide some feedback. But eventually, what we're hoping is that it's not going to affect mainstream OVN Kubernetes repo, but we would like to collaborate on having a new repo.
So this MCP server would expose APIs with some
Yeah,
activities that says what to do. Is it for debugging or because we have
yeah,
actually, I don't know if Divesh is on the call here. He was also exploring using MCP as a means to debug OVN issues, Avant Kubernetes issues.
exactly that. Yeah, exactly what we were looking for. So we are also looking into that, and we saw some promising results, and we want to expose the API, the CLI, NBCTL, SBCTL, off CTL, and maybe with privileged information, also getting the IP routes, contract entries,
Okay.
the flows. So then it's a full stack debugging, and then I think you had plans to add an OVN Cube CLI if that ever lands, even that. So then it gives us a full stack debugging
Oh, actually, I did it with
solution.
that itself. The one kit CLI, Girish, if you remember.
See, but it's only downstream. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
it's
we're trying to do it upstream so that we can reuse it maybe. But sorry, I keep
yeah.
cutting over you. I'll let you speak.
No, Surya, it's fine actually. See, let's please assign names, okay? Divesh, please work with Orco, right? Because let's not duplicate the efforts and let's try to. This is a very important thing. Getting an AI to help us. The second thing is for Avant Kubernetes CLI. Unfortunately, we are in the middle of a big project, and I'll try to find somebody who can upstream it. That Avant Kubernetes CLI, right, gives us a concise output of UDNs. The goal is to do for UDNs, layer to UDN, subnet information, IP information, pod information. So if you give a pod IP in the 1,000 node cluster, it will exactly tell you just the IP address if you give. Then it will tell you what pod on what node and what UDN it's connected to and things like that. So so for MCP it will be very easy, right? It sees
Yeah,
somebody complains that this party with this IP is having issue. Now we can kind of retrace back. So yeah, it has a lot of promises there. I'll try to find somebody who can at least upstream whatever the initial thing we have. I'm guessing it should be a separate repo by itself, or it could be
yeah. The OVNCube MCP server, I would prefer it to be a separate repo
100%.
for now. Yeah, and then we can all work on it. And when we are confident, if we really want it at some point, like at the end of the day, it's the LLM that's the brain. So once we're confident that it is productizable, we could move it as a binary and ship it and things. But for now, let's keep it separate.
See, we also downstream worked on a project called Network Probes. Okay, it's a proactive program
Oh,
that
just before you go to network probe, so did you mention the OVNCube CLI exists, but it's downstream? Is that what you
yeah,
and
yeah, it
Devesh were
exists
saying?
today. It
Okay.
kind of see we had over last 5 years we have moved from Python based OVN-SDN debug. Then we moved to Golang based stuff, and now we have moved. This is the third iteration of our CLI. Hopefully, it will be the last one. Um, um, and there are three different tools, but we're consolidating everything on this Summon Kubernetes CLI tool. Obviously, the goal of this MCP server is, we would have multiple activities for this MCP server telling, hey, if you see this and this, run this and this command and blah, 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 right? So that's how we envisioned it. Why I bought network probes is there's this called proactive probing, wherein we send probes, proactively send probes like DNS probes, HTTP probes, TCP probes, UDP probes, RDMA probes, gRPC. There are so many probes we send. Okay, it kind of fakes in terms of it forms the packet, sends the packet out, gets a round trip time, whatnot. So we were thinking this MCP, one of the activities will be somebody's complaining I cannot access internet, right? That internet access could be issue with network policies or issue with the application itself or issue with the networking. The MCP could immediately configure a probe using our custom resource and then send one probe and then see if that probe gets back. And if it works, then we know on the networking level everything is good. Maybe it's issue with the application stack or issues with the network policy. See what I'm saying? So it kind of ties in well with MCP as well to use this probe as a mechanism to push things out. So this also has to be upstream. And the good news is we've written this in a way that it could be any CNI, not just OVN. It because does not it's written a layer on top of it assumes that plumbing is already done and there's IP and everything. So we inject as a sidecar and then from within the sidecar we initiate the probes. So this project also can benefit from upstreaming. So and then MCP
Yeah.
attached to it. So this was
Sorry,
the
go
whole
ahead.
thing.
Yeah, I think that there is an OCAP that I've proposed. So definitely add your use cases also there. And like you said, I think keeping it upstream means you can all put our use cases and work on it together. So I like that, Girish.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing the information about network probes and OVN CLI.
Sorry, I'm also have some thinking about OVN Kube CLI. Since using AI and MCP is smart enough, I mean, for many functions, features, it's smart enough itself. Just use OVN, MBCTO, or SBCTO, and some other tools just to figure out by itself. So, so I'm thinking what kind of APIs we should provide. Probably just explore more about MBCTO, SBCTO themselves and give them documents. But some critical part is how to make sure it doesn't write to the DB because AI is still not very safe. So MCP server probably should focus more on provide read-only things and then just provide the documentation for them to just figure out what command should be executed.
I think that's a great point, Han. I've tried to cover some of those things, and definitely read only is what we have in scope to only expose those, not to expose everything else. But maybe you can also review the enhancement to see if you have better ideas. But I +1 to what you said. We should not be allowing update or set or anything that changes things with write access as much as possible.
Come on, you guys. It won't take over the world, but at some point, yeah, I agree. At some point, we should define roles and then give it a minimalistic, like simple, basic stuff, which we know will not cause the nuclear war. Should be allowed to the AI, like basic deleting of a row. Let's say there is a integrity error check, and we know what the integrity error is. We should let the AI go delete that integrity error, but of course, within some limited roles. I agree.
Yep. One. Okay, let's keep going. So there's an OCAP. So thank you everybody for the feedback. We can rehash and reiterate on the OCAP and take it from there. The next item was Patrick.
Yeah, sorry for just a link without any context. Let me add it here. So Enrique opened an OCAP for transit router topology for layer 2. And I've seen that on last Friday, Nadia, you've closed it with Tim and opened a follow-up one. And I think that's great. I think we can collaborate, and if you're willing to spend more time on it, and it will make it happen faster, I'm all for it. But it just makes me think whether we should have any process around taking over stale OCAPs or stale PRs, or if there should be any prior agreement with the author or anything like that. Is this something that you guys think we should do as part of the OVN-K? And maybe if we should document how do we take over stale PRs, or how do we engage on expediting work that's done by a different contributor?
Yeah, there should be like agreement with the original author, I think.
Here there was not, right? I guess that's because Kika is out.
Well, there
Was there not?
there wasn't like an official agreement. Okay, that's what we do. But I did discuss that possibility with him, and he was fine with that, from what I can tell.
Oh, I see. So he was aware that you'll take over the OCAP.
Yeah, I didn't know if I will, because I didn't know how much changes will need to be done to that enhancement. But basically what happened is Enrique started the enhancement, and then I was like working on it more lately. And then instead of pinging him, telling what to add to the enhancement, I figured it makes sense for me to just do that myself. So yeah, otherwise
on
I
our
don't
side,
know.
I think Kike, before he went on PTO, again, nobody can speak for Kike, so let him come back. But before he went on PTO, he did reach out and said he's going on PTO. And so we had asked him to give push access to Patrick. But as long as it was all agreed, it's fine. But if we need some contributor docs for future, we can also add that.
But
Yeah,
I
probably
guess,
would have
but
been
what is
better to just
the
give push access to people.
Yeah, I think maintainers have push access on every PR, so the PR can be updated if it's an extra commit. But if it's other contributors, we usually give push access so that the original history stays intact. Yeah.
Oh, I
but
didn't know
is
that.
there a
So we
big
can push.
difference or like any side
Yeah,
effects
I
of
think
not? I mean,
maintainers.
if you split that into 5 different PRs, then yeah, maybe. But as long as it just happens once, what is like a side effect? There is still a link to the previous one. You can still follow kind of the discussions, and there are actually not many active discussions on that one. So what are we trying like to protect ourselves from here? Is there something evil I'm not seeing in doing that?
No, I don't think there's anything evil in the the closing of a previous OCUP and opening a new one. It's just it was a bit surprising to me. I guess I wasn't aware that Kika agreed with you for you to do a follow-up OCUP. And it just made me think, like, what do we do in future for any changes that might be even more stale? Like Kika went on PTO here, but what if someone is not following up on an important change, and if there should be something that we have agreed upon on picking up code changes, enhancements, or whatnot?
So I think two things. So one is it's better to keep it in the original PR, so because all the other comments are in that PR, so it's a little bit confusing. And then the second thing is like even if you make a new PR or someone takes over for a little while because the other person went on PTO or is unavailable, like I still think we need that other person to acknowledge like the final state of the enhancement. So like I wouldn't want it to merge without Kike coming back and saying, yeah, this is what I was thinking. It looks good.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, +1 to what Tim said. And now when Kike comes back, I don't think we should do yet another PR. We just stick with one of them.
So I guess, Nadia, you could just take your commit and push it to his original PR, right? And then we'd still
Well,
have all the...
now I know that I could, but I actually would never try to push changes to someone's branch when that person didn't give me an access to that branch explicitly. So, I mean, if I was proactive enough to ask Higi to give me these rights to push to his branch before he went on PTO, then I would have done that.
Yeah, actually, Nadia needs to be invited by him to collaborate on his branch, right? Without that, it won't work. For example, for network cause, I forget
I
the
think maintainers, though, Girish, have access to edit on every PR. Maintainers are allowed to edit a pull request, which means they can actually push, is my understanding.
to push to their repos branch.
No, push to the PR branch. Yeah, exactly. Their repos branch.
Or that I don't know actually, because when Perry saw me, right, when I was working with him on network cause, he had to invite me and Flavio to edit his stuff because he was not able to focus on network cause 100%. So we basically took him over, but we kept his branch and we were collaborating on his GitHub handles repo. And the thing is, if I push to his branch as a new commit, obviously GitHub will automatically pick the new commit, and then it will show the diff between the new commit and the old commit. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think,
but
yeah.
yeah, only thing is we need to get invite is my understanding. But anyways, we can try it out, Nadia. And so this is with the L2 transit router stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, I don't know if we need a process because that doesn't happen too often, really. But I mean, we can try to document something.
Yeah, I mean, at
so
least when somebody goes on PTO, let's at least ask that person before they go on PTO to give push access, and let's inform them that we will be closing the PR or taking over or whatever that might be.
I mean,
So
it's
that when they
obviously
come
good
back,
to do,
it's not.
but what if you haven't done that and they are on PTO? That's the question. You may not even know that they are going on PTO.
do you know when he's back?
KK is back in
2 weeks.
1.5 weeks, I think.
Oh, that's a
I mean,
lot.
it's Monday, so
But yeah,
in literally
Patrick
2
also
weeks, I
has
think.
push access if we need something. But I think that we should be good here. I think we can try to see if we should add something to the contributor docs around what I think I like the 2 points that Tim said. At least those two can be documented.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
anything
you're
else? Yeah.
blocked. Today you're blocked on this thing, correct? For your L3 UDF.
Yeah. Not L3, but then the connecting UDN.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, internet interconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, but for connecting UDNs, we're also working on some more use cases on our side. So not entirely blocked. I'm working on
Okay.
pushing those new use cases as well. But yeah, implementation is kind of blocked on this one.
Is there a way to reach that person? I mean, let's say let's say Nadia cannot push to his branch. I'm fairly certain when I tried, I did not, and Periswamy had to send me an email through GitHub, and then I accepted it to collaborate, and then I was able to modify his branch. Let's say that's the case. Then is there a way to reach that person, or how do we?
Sorry to interrupt, but I think we should be good with the PR Nadia opened here. And I do believe that you're correct because the branches that we create PRs from are our own. So I don't think it's maintainer versus contributor. Maybe the maintainer can do anything on the PR, but not necessarily on the originating branch, right? I don't know how that would work, but I just wanted for all of us to agree on how are we going to approach OCAPs without talking to the original author if they are unavailable for whatever reason. It's just got me by surprise that the original OCAP was closed and a new one was opened as a follow-up. But I guess I wasn't aware that this was already discussed with Kike, so we should be good here. And we already have an OCAP open under the new handle.
Okay, understood. Sorry for thank you for the context. Okay.
Okay, sounds like we don't have a clear solution for when someone goes on PTO. But for now, we are good here with the new PR.
Let's do this.
And
If sorry,
okay.
sorry, one last thing. Um, um, if there is a OCAP that is very close to a bunch of companies, I think we need one representative from each so that they are all in sync. And then if one person goes on PTO, the other person can take over. This does not have to be on all the OCAP, but the OCAPs that is really important for several more than one team. You see what I'm saying? In that way, we are not blocked by one person um, going on PTO for a long time.
Yeah, I think at least push access should be given to the branches, like you said, with the network was, for example.
Okay, cool. I think
And I wasn't aware that I thought maintainers could push, but maybe you're all correct in the fact that I don't know what edit the pull request in that sense means, but looks like
I just tried.
we
I just
can't.
tried it. It doesn't let you. Like I got permission denied.
yeah, exactly. That's what I got, and I had to ask Ferry to add me, to invite me. But anyways, I think we beat this to death. Let's move to the.
Yeah, let's move to the next item. But maybe that is worth documenting, Patrick.
Yeah, I
At
agree.
least when someone goes on PTO or when they're going to leave for extended leave to give push access to other contributors that the work can be carried forward. Maybe
Yeah,
that's an
do you
action
want
item.
to agree on any arbitrary period of time where we consider a PR or an OCAP or whatever abandoned and for anyone to pick up? Maybe that's something outside of this discussion.
Yeah, what is a valid time frame? I don't know. 1 week, 2 weeks for
Definitely
something
more
to
than
go
two.
stale. Okay, stale. Did you say more than 2 weeks, Girish?
Yeah, 1 week it's okay. I mean, but 2 weeks is a lot of time, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe more than 2 weeks, Patrick?
I
What
think
what do
2
you
weeks
do when
is.
it's stale? Like why do you need that
So this would
definition?
be something we could decide in our contributor guidelines, but maybe we would consider it free for anyone to complete, free for anyone to do their own version
And you still
of the
wouldn't do
PR.
that though, right? Without talking to the author. You go and talk to them
Yeah,
first, ask if they want
of
to
course.
continue
And
that.
by 2 weeks, I mean no reply for 2 weeks, no involvement. So no answer to comments or all that.
Right, but if they're for 3 weeks on PTO, so which could be, I mean, okay, I mean, I guess you could document that, but
Yeah,
it's
I
also
mean,
kind of common sense.
if we know people,
I
then we
don't.
can reach out to others or to other contributors or people involved in the change, like here. But if there is just one contributor, then I don't see another way, to be honest.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you everyone for bringing this topic up. I think we have spoken enough around it, and I think we have some good action items to carry forward. Thank you, Nadia, for continuing the work on layer 2 topology enhancement. Over in lieu of time, I'm moving over. Tim, you have the next item, network operator for OVN Kubernetes repo.
Yeah, so we have like CNO obviously an OpenShift, and in NVIDIA, an intern wrote a network operator. And so we haven't really spoken much internally yet. How do we want to upstream it? But I just wanted to see if everyone would be okay with potentially a new repo introducing a network operator there for OvenCube. And it'd be specifically around like, the Helm chart stuff, because we need a way to upgrade from non-IC to IC. And we're probably going to need more controlled upgrades as well for other things. So just trying to get feedback here on if that would be something the rest of the community would be okay with.
Yeah, we definitely need it upstream for sure. But thing is, the network operator as written is for IC only. Um, it's it does not do central to IC. I think it should be left as an exercise for folks. And then this operator helps us moving from one IC to another IC version, and it does not use Helm chart. So with this operator, when we upstream this operator, we wouldn't need Helm chart anymore. There will be Helm chart just for the operator itself, but the operator internally will it uses Go templates, and then a CR config, and then replaces the template with variables. So the Helm will be deprecated, and network operator will be the way to install our CNI in IC mode. I don't see we need to do the upgrade, right, Tim? I think it's going to be too much of a hassle.
Well, I don't know. We can talk about that, I guess, internally for upgrade.
Yeah. Because see, UDN anyway is not supported with the Central, so we're already abandoning Central for so many new features. Does BGP work with Central? No, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
but
the
it.
So
network operator? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to
Everybody
say that it
spoke at
wouldn't
the
be a
same
ton
time.
of work to move to add the code to be able to go from Central to IC, because we already have it in CNO, so we could just copy the same logic.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that there's one thing that might happen if we add this network operator, right? Is that one thing that might happen is we start designing features that are going to depend on this network operator doing things, right? So for example, we develop a feature in OVN Kubernetes that, like, for example, we write an OCAP for a feature in OVN Kubernetes that is going to require this new network operator to do something in a certain way, like to handle the upgrade, which is fine, that makes sense. But we need to think about it ourselves on our side, because this is not going to be a fork of OpenShift network operator. I guess it's going to be a completely different code base.
The ground up
So
patch written in from, yeah.
I guess that for us, how things might look like in the future is that we'll need to implement in our network operator functionality that is implemented in this network operator to be able to handle features that are upgraded with this network operator in mind. So I'm not saying this is a problem or anything, but it's food for thought for us, I guess.
I think it's a
I
good
do
point.
believe that this is something entirely separate, right? And I like the idea of it being a separate repository, as I think this should have no direct dependency on OpenK. So it could handle upgrades and it could render OpenK with options we support upstream. There are a lot of questions to answer, like if we handle upgrades, which ones? Like how far back and how far forward can you actually go? Is it only one version or
Yeah,
is it more?
yeah, it's n-1. See, this code is already there, guys. This code was written by our intern over the last 3 months. It has a minimum version that it looks at to do upgrade. It really depends, right? Let's say from 1.1, we release 1.1 in 6 months. We're going to release 1.2 and 1.3, 1.4. It could be that we can move from 1.1 to 1.4 without having to make the intermediate hops. It really depends on when we release 1.5, we have to tell I need absolutely 1.4 and I cannot move from 1.1 or like less than 1.4 I cannot do, right? Or we could say that from 1.4 to 1.5, nothing got added that we can move from. So it's basically based on the release, or we can just always tell that we can only do one n, n minus 1 to n. The second thing is it has a DAG, which basically tells what should be installed first and then what it basically can do dependencies like we can do in Helm chart. It has a DAG resolver that resolves the dependency and then based on that it installs. And then it also has hooks to run tests. So once it installs a daemon set, it makes sure the daemon set is up and running and you can write a custom hook which basically runs a bunch of maybe tests, runs a flow test to make sure that daemon set got applied and things like that. So it has a lot of all those things written ground up. Uh, and I didn't understand, Jaime, the only thing is if you add a feature and if the feature is self-contained, then the only thing you need to update is the custom resource config. I mean, there's nothing in the operator that needs to be changed much if you added a new feature, unless you did a feature flag and you want to set it to false.
So you're all referencing the current state of the operator as it is today.
Right.
I don't know where this operator might evolve to in the future.
Right.
Patrick mentioned dependencies. I didn't talk about dependencies in the sense of code dependencies or anything. Let me try to rephrase in a different way. If we have this operator in place, is it okay for this operator to be referenced from a OVN-Kubernetes OKEP as a solution to a problem stated in that OKEP? That would be my question.
Yes, I think we can. If you want some prerequisite to be done, like on the host, yeah, that's a very good question, actually. We need to see exactly what all it can do from being centralized.
Yeah, and I agree with your point, Jaime, that if we had that operator and it would be referenced as a solution to, let's say, an upgrade problem, then at least on our side, we would need to ensure that the behavior would be the same. But I think it's just our thing to figure out, and there is no upgrade at all upstream. So if that would help, it seems like a good step forward.
Yeah, we could try to modularize it so then CNO can just import the library.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
it all makes sense to me. Sorry, Tim. I'm just saying it all makes sense to me. I'm just trying to be sure that we all understand what this could mean for the future. Basically, that's it.
yeah, but like a major thing I don't know is how do you upgrade then from 1.0 to 1.2 if Helm is no longer being used?
That's why I think we need to keep it simple, Tim. Let's talk internally. I don't want this network operator to be, because we are deprecating Aman Central, right? And in 1.0 and 1.1, and in 1.2, yeah, let's discuss internally, please, because uh, yeah, it's some amount of work for sure, I would think.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I think we need
Yeah,
to drop to a 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we are at time. We have 2 more topics remaining. Should we move that to the next meeting or continue?
Yeah, let's just move it to the next meeting.
Thanks, guys.
Good.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. See you guys.